indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So I have one quick announcement here, just reminding everybody that tomorrow night here at the City Hall Council Chambers, there will be a League of Women Voters Forum starting at 6 o'clock for the mayoral candidates, and then I believe at 7 o'clock for the county commissioner, all the candidates that are going to be part of the August 9th primary. It will be broadcast, and questions can be called in or you can attend in person. And then I'd like to call on former Councilman Tim Briza to come up and help introduce our distinguished guests from Bytów, Poland. Sure. I didn't realize I wasn't there.
Thank you, Honor and Council, for the opportunity to present to you our sister cities exchange students from Bytów, Poland. We have 6 people today that have traveled here and are here for a month, and they represent part of a long tradition that we've had, exchanging students back and forth between the homeland for many Winonans and Poland. So this year we have 6 students, and I'm going to have them come up to the podium and introduce themselves, and they can tell you a little bit about themselves. So with that, we will start over here. Thank you.
You want to pull the microphone a little closer to the podium, I think. There we go.
So my name is Jędrzej Czapiewski. I live in Parchowo, which is actually a little countryside, like 15 minutes away from Bytów. I go to school to Bytów High School. My dad is a vice mayor of Bytów, and I know that our city, Bytów, is doing everything to keep this exchange going, because it's a really amazing thing to to get an opportunity to travel to the other country, to the United States, and to see some places here. I've been one week ago. I was to South Carolina with Molly. I live in her house. She is my house sister, I'd say. So we've been to South Carolina, and I met there a lot of amazing people. I'm very glad I could come here and just experience something new. That means a lot to me. Thank you.
Thank you. I have a little gift here. It's a Winona pin if you'd like to have one of those.
Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Karol Grzesiński. I live in Rzepnica. It's a village that is about 1 kilometer from Bytów. It is connected. I'm a student in Liceum Ogólnokształcące z Bytów. It's the same school as Jędrzej. The thing that I most like about this adventure is kindness of my family and also all people who live there. My family is great. They take me everywhere. I was at cabin. It was amazing adventure. I was kayaking in President's River, and I also was fishing. I caught the biggest salmon, and and I also want to thank Father Briza for giving me that opportunity to take part in that exchange. Thank you.
Would you like a pin?
Yes.
A souvenir? You're welcome.
I like the shirts. It's a nice shield.
Hi, my name is Janusz Nowacki. I'm a student from the second exchange of our sister city. Here is my friend from the third one. I just graduated high school in Bytów, and I started study on Technical University in Gdańsk. Just I wanted to say that the Polish exchange is very valid thing, and you have to just keep the exchange going on, because like I could say, I'm a proof that people from Bytów are going from next year to another years. I came this year with my sister Alice. She was part of exchange 2 years ago, but she really liked here staying in States, also in Winona. So what I wanted to say for you, let's continue this exchange. I really love it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, my name is Alicja Nowacka. I live in Bytów now. It's my hometown, and actually I started study at the University of Gdańsk. So I study chemistry and biotechnology. And like my brother told you 1 minute ago, I didn't take part on this exchange, but I really like the idea of this exchange because 2 years ago, one guy from America, so Avery, he was in our home. He stayed with us, and I could say that it was really good time which we spent together with him, and I really wanted to take part in this exchange, but I didn't have a chance. But I really appreciated that I can be here with you in Winona, in States, which I really love it, and yeah, that's the thing that I want to say, that this exchange it's really good idea, and I think you should continue it because yeah, I really love it. Thank you.
Thank you. Would you like a pen? Okay. Making everybody work for them here. You're welcome.
Hello, my name is Anna. I'm 19. I'm from the same school as Bartek. I'm a senior year in this year. Jess is my host sister. I have the best host parents ever. In the next year, Molly and with Jess come to Poland again. I think it's a great idea for young people come from USA and from Poland and see new people. I was almost everywhere. In this weekend we went to Minneapolis. I see every place. I really like this, and I hope I can come here again. Thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Hello, I'm Bartek Warmiak, and I'm staying with Alex Arnold, and I wanna thank you very much, and Father Briza and you, for this chance, for a time to be here. I already made a lifetime friend, so I feel awesome to be here and do everything special what I can do in Poland. Then I can learn something about my own history from Winona citizens. It's so hard to explain, but I can, and I think we can feel like home here because of culture and nice host families. So I'm very thankful for this opportunity, and yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you. That's all I had. Does the city manager have anything to say?
Just one thing, Your Honor, for council. There's this new game that's sweeping the country, collecting Pokemons. Hopefully, folks that are doing it will be safe. We've had several instances of people walking off cliffs and then walking into trees and whatnot. So please be safe. And above that, there seems to be quite a gathering down in Vets Park. And we would really ask that folks that are doing this respect the park, respect the monuments, the people that are there to observe that sacred space. We would appreciate your cooperation. Thank you.
Thank you. Roll call.
Mayor Peterson.
Here.
Councilman Thurley.
Here.
Craig.
Here.
Alexander. Iden. Here. Worzykowski.
Here.
Double.
Here.
Under the petitions, requests, and communications, item 3.1 is the license agreement with the Winona Tour Boat for the 2017 and 18 season.
Move to approve the license agreement.
Second. Motion by George and seconded by Jerry. Any discussion? I'll just add, I had a couple of opportunities recently to use the boat, and it's a beautiful boat. If you haven't been on the Winona Tour Boat, you should get down there and enjoy it. I guess we'll vote. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries.
Item 3.2 is a request for handicap parking along East Sanborn Street. The request is to introduce the ordinance and to waive the city fee.
I would move to approve to introduce the attached ordinance.
Second.
Motion by George and seconded by Paul. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries.
Item 3.3 is an application for on-sale intoxicating liquor license for Chatters on Second. And Mr. Chad Brink is here if you have questions.
I'll move to approve.
Second that.
Motion by Jerry and seconded by Pam. Any discussion? George?
Yeah, could Chad just take a moment and tell us about his operation and where you're at with it as of right now?
Well, at this point, I have an agreement for the building, and I'm looking to bring something for all ages and all people for Winona. And I think I've had 14 years of experience in this business, and I just believe I can bring something good to this. And I've kept moving along with it. It's been a long process, and I've learned a lot, and I just hope for the opportunity to bring something great to Winona.
When would your opening date be?
Ideally, October, November.
Any other questions? Guess not. Thank you. We're ready to vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries.
Item 3.4 is a request to hold fireworks display at Lake Park on August 6th.
Move to approve that request.
Second.
Motion by George, seconded by Paul. Discussion? Pam?
Yes, as I said last time this came up, I'm not really sure I like the idea of private fireworks on public parkland, especially when the public will be then prevented from using the parkland. And just for future, I'm not going to vote against it, but for future reference, could I please have some information about this in the past? Have there been private parties setting off fireworks in the park?
Well, Council, you will have coming up in near future requests from Winona Health. They do an annual fireworks for their residents. And that's also at Lake Park.
That's it. That's over the other side of Lake Park.
Right.
Okay.
St. Mary's has had fireworks, but on their own property. I don't recall any others besides Winona Health.
George?
Well, years ago, when Steamboat Days was down by the lake, fireworks was shot off, I believe, probably by the Lake Lodge or maybe further down, whatever. So it has been done before.
Yeah, that Steamboat Days is more or less a public kind of festival. So this just struck me as being something of an anomaly, and maybe it is not, but I wanted to find out. So thank you.
Any other questions? Hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries.
Item 3.5 is a request to block a portion of an alley near 863 East 5th Street on Saturday, August 27th.
Move to approve that request.
I'd second that.
Motion by George, seconded by Pam. Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries.
Under unfinished business, item 4.1 is to award the contract for the 2016 sidewalk project to Wabasha Construction with a bid of $60,308.
Move approval of the contract.
Second.
Motion by Paul, seconded by George. Discussion?
Just have a question on, I don't recall seeing as much documentation and and paperwork that has been accompanying this. And then my second question would be to ask if the sidewalk on Drury Court is going to be part of this project this year.
Mayor and Council, the answer to the first question is, you're correct. There's a whole lot of extra papers in that agenda item that don't belong there. I'm not sure how they got included, but there's revised assessments and all things which should not have been part of the agenda. And the other one is, yes, that project is included as well.
And that'll be done this year then along with this
Yes.
project? Okay. Good. Thank you.
Keith, does this include curb and gutter too?
That's in the specs.
That's in the, it's not, curb and gutter are not in the assessment process,
Okay.
but if it is included as a line item for doing that kind of work.
Okay, so the curb and gutter work is also
Yep, and then
in
as
this
well.
price. Thank you.
Anything else? If not, we'll vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries.
Under new business, item 5.1 is the final plat for the Pelzer Properties subdivision at West 5th and Pelzer Street, and we distributed a revised resolution for your consideration.
I would move the attached resolution for introduction, to introduce for adoption.
I'll second that.
Motion by George, seconded by Al. Carlos, did you want to speak to this?
Lots of resolution.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'll just briefly go through the agenda item. The proposal is to subdivide a 6-acre parcel of land at the southwest corner of 5th and Pelzer Street into 4 lots and 2 outlots. I've labeled the lots on the screen here, 1, 2, 3, and 4. The 3 lots are currently developable. The whole area is zoned for commercial. It's Zone B2, which would facilitate commercial uses. There are some storage facilities on this 3rd parcel right there that would remain. In addition to the 4 parcels are 2 outlots to be used for egress purposes. The Planning Commission unanimously recommended approval of this agenda item with the condition that each one of those outlots only have 1 driveway for ingress and egress. Should council concur with the commission's recommendation of approval, motion to introduce the ordinance that was passed out prior to the meeting would be in order. Thank you. The resolution that was passed out prior to the meeting.
I would move the attached resolution.
There's already a motion on the floor.
Oh, there is, I'm sorry.
Is there any discussion before we vote? I think it's a great project. I'm looking forward to adding another hotel to Winona, so. Anybody else? If not, we'll vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Passes.
Item 5.2 is the temporary family health care dwelling units.
Mayor and Council, this agenda item relates to some legislation that was passed at this year's legislative session at the state capitol. This year, a bill was passed requiring cities to allow temporary accessory dwelling units, such as RVs or tiny houses, in rear yards of properties for up to a year due to health concerns. According to the bill, cities either have to opt out or begin issuing permits for these types of temporary dwellings by September 1st. We went through a list of concerns that staff has with the bill as applied in Winona. Those concerns include utility connections and temporary septic systems that would likely be involved with these type of units. Those temporary septic systems would be in areas of the city that typically don't allow those types of waste disposal systems. You typically would have to connect to city utilities for sewer services. We also have concerns about administration and enforcement of the bill that was passed, increased density in single-family areas of the city, as well as compliance with building codes, because a number of these type of units would be RVs, which are not subject to the state building code. The Planning Commission reviewed the opting out option as part of their meeting on July 11th. They held a public hearing and unanimously recommended that the city opt out of the legislation. Should council concur with Commission's recommendation to opt out, a motion to adopt the ordinance provided in attachment 1 would be in order. Thank you.
I would so move that we follow the planning commission's recommendation and opt out of the ordinance.
Second. Motion by George and seconded by Paul. Discussion? Al?
Just out of curiosity, does staff have any idea how many of these are we potentially talking about? Or did the legislation give any indication of the potentials even statewide as opposed to, just Winona?
The state legislation applies statewide, and it's up to individual counties or cities to opt out of the legislation. So unless we opt out, we would have to start issuing permits by September 1st.
But none of that had an estimate of about how many folks would be requesting these temporary.
Not to my knowledge. Nothing that I've reviewed.
Okay.
And it all depends too on individual city and county regulations. So.
And individual circumstances. I thought with the state doing it that there might be some estimate of how many thousands would be applied statewide. So, okay, thank you.
I think we're like the first city to already have the tiny houses. I think they're mostly parked around Latch Island. Original ones. Anything else, Paul?
No, my concern is that to avoid the issues down the road of when the current property owner who might have a tiny house and for a very deserving parent or something sells the house, any transitional benefit to the next owner, and might be a problem we don't want to deal with, because it then becomes proliferation of, while it helps somebody, in the future it may be a nightmare.
Okay. Are we ready to vote? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Passes.
Item 5.3 is the submission for the BWSR Clean Water Grant.
Keith?
Mayor and Council, we have an opportunity to apply for a grant to deal with phosphorus in Lake Winona. And in recent years, it's become impaired with phosphorus levels, which promotes growth of weeds and algae. What this grant that we're going after would do would help us define what projects would reduce phosphorus in the lake. There's a lot of ideas out there. We don't know which ones really are legitimate, which ones are not. This would be an opportunity to put some numbers to those, how much phosphorus, how much cost, and all of that. The grant is 75%, and what I'm proposing is that the council approve up to $20,000 from the stormwater utility for that if we get awarded the grant. And we'd be doing it in conjunction with the county, working with them.
Okay. I'll move the recommendation. Second. Motion by Paul, and I heard Pam second it. Any discussion? I think it's great we're working with the county on this. I think it's a good move. So.
I think that as Keith pointed out, this is really an important thing for the city of Winona to do, both in terms of the health and the beauty of Lake Winona, and also down the road for our ability to meet the requirements of the state in the levels of phosphorus do need to be reduced. It's a sticky problem, and this is really a great first step.
Okay. Thank you. Ready to vote? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries.
Item 7.1 is council concerns.
We'll start with George.
Okay, thank you. To our friends from Poland, I like those dark blue or black Bitoff Polish shirts. I would like one of those, and I'm size 2XL. So, you know, those won't fit me, I got a little bit bigger. So, welcome, I hope you enjoy your stay here, so. Steve, any update on the Mankato Avenue crossing with the railroad and the reworking of the Mankato Avenue crossing
And the switch yard?
with the switch yard?
Keith, had Keith try to get in contact with them.
We had the original conference call with the railroad, and there were some concerns as far as moving it where we go. Then we met with Goodview and had some discussion with them, and then now we're trying to get together another conference call with them, and that hasn't gone as well. It was transferred from one party to another party, and so we're still pursuing that.
Yeah, we're still talking on it.
Oh, yeah, we're still talking.
And then what about the reconstruction of the Mankato Avenue crossing?
It's scheduled, but I don't have a time frame on it.
Okay, because I noticed there were 3 hubcaps there, but they're now picked up, so they must have been aluminum, so. And the price of aluminum is down. Okay, thank you. Just a few other things. I would like to send out a thank you from the folks in Glenview who are getting their street resurfaced right now. They said send a thank you out to the city council and the public works, and it's coming along very, very well. Also a thank you to Bruce Odell and his choir this past weekend. Put on several concerts over at Central Lutheran Church to support our veterans. And it was very, very well attended, and just a group of 35, 38 Winona people just getting together and singing. In fact, Mayor, you and I probably could have joined them as we get together on our songs. Yeah. So anyway, it was a very, very good turnout. And I don't know how much money was raised, but they were helping the veterans, and all the branches were there to be recognized. It was a very, very good program. So, also to Mr. Elahandi, I want to thank him for his service on the school board, as I believe he has his last meeting this Thursday, and thank him for his time spent in helping with the direction of the education of our children. He's a very good man, very good family, and wish him well. And a couple of birthday greetings. First of all, next week Sunday there will be a celebration for Maxine Mickey Koulas as she celebrates her 90th birthday at the American Legion Club. And also I'd like to wish my granddaughter, April Bannicky, a happy golden birthday, which was celebrated yesterday, 17 on the 17th. And she said, I want no presents, and boy, did I like to hear that. Thank you.
Paul? I'm just wondering at our next meeting if we could have an update on the parking on West Burns, going up the water tower, up to the bluff, up the Sugarloaf, and how that's progressing. I had some people call me wanting to know if there was a public hearing or any input that they could provide. They were willing to help in the with volunteers, but just would like an update on that trailway up there. Okay. Ma'am?
First of all, I wanted to say that I really liked the looks of the new city logo on the front page of our agenda. I think it looks great, so that's really a plus. I like the looks of the logo, and I'd also like to hear from someone about the progress of Levy Park plans, the new design for Levy Park. When are we going to hear from the consultants? When are we going to move on with that project? So I think that's Chad. He's not here tonight, but I would like to hear more.
Okay. I can provide a little bit of an update. We did review and provide a comment to the consultant, must have been about a month ago now, and they will be getting back to us sometime in August for another look through. And again, the intention is to have documents to go to bid by the end of this year, so there'll still be a public process between now and the end of the year for review of the plans and to continue to develop them as we go forward.
So we should hear back from them by next month then?
Staff will.
Staff will?
Correct.
Okay. We posted.
Will do.
Jerry?
The city manager did bring up Pokemon when he first, for his comments. And he did mention that, unfortunately, Veterans Memorial Park is the hottest spot in Winona for that. And it's certainly not the appropriate use. There's been a number of mistakes with Pokemon around the United States. I mean, they have Arlington National Cemetery, for instance, the Holocaust Museum, and a few others. Those places are large enough that they can actually request and be heard when they talk to the people in Japan who created this game, and it possibly can be taken off. But in Winona, we're a bit smaller, and it's, you know, now you asked if they would be kind enough to have a mixed use and be respectful. Most of them are respectful, but it's still not the appropriate place for it. A handful, I'm going to say probably 5%, have been disrespectful, and it usually takes the small percent to finally ruin it for everybody. I don't know how we're going to do this legally, but there's a handful of us working very hard to see what we can come up with to try to stop that area from being used for this. It's not always passive. They bring dogs down there. There's garbage to be picked up. There are people sitting on the monuments. There, if you can recall, a lot of work went into that park, and that is a lot of private money with extreme public support, and it has been very successful. And there are times where it has a mixed use. Motor Parts Car Show, for instance, people are in there. My gosh, when we use it for Trinona. But even when you have thousands of people down there for Trinona, it seems that they understand the significance of that park. But evidently when you're trying to catch them all, you kind of lose that sight, the most of them. So it's hurting a lot of feelings. There have been a number of near arguments down there, but obviously cooler heads have prevailed. It's becoming somewhat of an almost campground. There's hammocks down there quite often. City staff's doing the best they can, but there's so few laws and ordinances that really limit that type of behavior. So we are looking at what we can do. We're incredibly limited. It's a public park, but we're doing what we can. Nothing against the game, but the game shouldn't be played off a cliff. The game shouldn't be played in the middle of a highway. The game should not be played at Veterans Memorial Park. Thank you.
Al? Well, as Councilman Borzakowski pointed out, happy birthday to your granddaughter. I can also mention one of my grandchildren. My granddaughter had a birthday last week. It was her 13th birthday. And just a reminder, we have a wonderful municipal band playing concerts at Lake Park near the Veterans Memorial Park, a good place to experience some great music.
If they can find the spot moving around but
yeah,
sure they'll be fine.
yeah, but that's every Wednesday through August that they'll be there. August, I think, 8th or whatever that Wednesday is in August. And to our friends from our sister city in Vituf, welcome to Winona, to their sponsors and all of those that have made this Winona visit successful. Thank you for that. And again to the students, Dziękuję. That's all I have, Mayor.
Okay, thank you.
Under the consent agenda, there are two items: the approval of the minutes from July 5th and a claim against the city by Ann Lee for a fall on a sidewalk.
Move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion by Al, seconded by Jerry. Discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
I move we adjourn.
Second that.
Motion by George and seconded by Pam. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned. Thank you.